Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Disclosure Now. Today we have Bill Teising, a good friend of mine. We are going to be talking about frequency manipulation, which means a lot of different things, and we're going to get into that. Like, kind of everything is frequency, every reality is frequency, every sound you hear is frequency, every uh, instance of matter that you come in contact with vibrates at a frequency. Everything vibrates. So we're gonna get into some of that stuff today, and sort of starting from like the ground up to the past, where my testimony comes into it, and where Bill's expertise merges with the things that I've experienced and some of the knowledge that I have. Is we were developing music as a weapon at Montauk. It's been said that the whole 440 hertz thing was decided there because they figured out. I don't know if this is true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. It was figured out that it's just not in tune with the earth as much. It manipulates people more easily and stuff like that when you put the music at 440 hertz. So what happened with the Montauk project, Project Phoenix 2, which I was a part of, was the weaponizing of these frequencies, and also sort of weaponizing them while keeping the very healthy and healing applications of this technology secret from mankind. And so, what we are here to do today is talk about these kinds of technologies, scalar healing, sound healing technologies. We're not doctors or anything like that. This is for entertainment purposes, as they all got to say on this platform. But we have had some interesting experiences regarding sound healing and stuff like that. And so we're going to talk about that today. Bill, how about you just kind of give people a brief synopsis of who you are, just a little introduction to yourself for
Sure.
those of you who might not know.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Arkheim, everyone out there. My name is Bill Teising. I'm an electrical engineer. I've been practicing electrical engineering for the last 25 years. I recently, I'd say within the last year, started, working with Arkheim. Started on his show talking about the bubble, and he and I have similar interests in music, technology. Yeah. So I do electrical engineering for my 8 to 5 job, and then after work, I like to work on projects, whether it's the bubble or this new device that I've created, which has to do with PEMF coils and healing the body with frequencies. So yeah, hey Arkheem, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so you've given me some stuff. Last time I
Hmm.
saw you, we actually got to link up in Tennessee, hang out a bit,
Yeah,
and I have one of these coils that you made right here to kind of show the audience. And so what it
yeah, you
is you
hold
can
it up.
hook it up to this MP3 player right here, and you can play different frequencies and place it different places in your body and stuff like that. Right?
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
pretty much the
exactly.
intention behind it.
Yeah, and so I'm not able to see your screen, but I assume you're just holding up the coil and showing the audience with the MP3. But yeah, so this device is essentially the result of my experience with using PEMF hardware. Specifically, like I hurt my back really bad in 2019, and I had to get one of these Swiss PEMF mats. It was made by this company called Beamer, and I opted to get this piece of equipment instead of getting surgery. And that was like my first introduction to PEMF because it actually worked. Like I had a bulge disc and some other things that I had injured my back, and it actually, within 8 weeks, I had significantly improved. So that's what kind of piqued my interest in all this. And the Swiss device, the downside with a lot of these PEMF devices is they're extremely expensive. The Swiss thing was like almost $5,000, and I did that instead of paying the deductible for a back surgery. And so what I intended to create, and with that coil that I showed you, is a low cost effective device where, it's for $350, you can get a coil and an MP3 player that has the songs that I've created, which are different frequencies, and we'll talk about that in a minute, how I create those. So that allows a broader amount of people to have access to a device that could potentially help them. And so that's how my interest started. I injured myself, got involved with PEMF stuff, and then ended up creating my own for the purpose of helping people and not necessarily for profit. So yeah, so you have one of the devices, and I know you haven't had a chance to turn it on yet, but there are multiple frequencies that come loaded on the MP3 player, and you get an MP3 player with the coil, but you could easily just load these songs onto your iPhone or your Android phone or whatever you want, and use the headphone output. But the unique thing about this coil is that it actually is strong enough to work with an MP3 player or your cell phone. Most coils, PEMF coils that I've seen out there, they need an external power supply, or they actually show that you can't drive the coil with a cell phone, but with this coil that I've created, you actually can. And so that's what makes it unique, is that it's a low cost device that will work with off the shelf hardware that you already have. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get something that can potentially help you. And so there's a lot of information out there about PEMF, and you can look up, and we include like a range of frequencies that come loaded on the MP3, but this is not necessarily like a new technology per se. There's a lot of companies out there doing this. Most of their IP is associated with the songs that they create, the songs, if you will, the healing songs. So some companies, they sell the hardware, and then you have to pay a monthly fee, like hundreds of dollars, to access their MP3 files. And so, the way that we're approaching this is completely opposite. You pay once, you get access to the MP3s and future MP3s updates if you want. There's no subscription service or any of this nonsense. So that's the intent, is to bring a device to the public at a low price point that's reasonable for people to actually consider getting, that might actually help them with various things, and I don't know how much medical stuff we can talk on here, because, like, we're supposed to say this thing doesn't do anything, right? Or whatever the disclaimer is. But it has helped me tremendously. And we're going to talk, Bubba is going to come on in a minute. My mentor, who I've mentioned to you, Arkheim, a lot in the past. His name is Bubba Dumbass. He's been one of the he's my mentor, but he's helping me a lot with the testing. And so he'll talk about, some of the things that he's noticed.
We want to bring him on right now and have him talk about
it? Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Welcome to the show, Bubba Dumbass. We've got him set up here where he's on Messenger. So that's why you see him talking to, while we're talking to the phone. If you look, there's a person there. We promise you we're not talking to an AI robot or anything like that. This is an actual guy. He's just not extremely tech savvy, so we figured out a workaround. So welcome to the show, Bubba. We appreciate you being here. How are you doing, Bubba?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's been a tough week, but, we all get through it. It's kind of like a boner. Them tough weeks, kind of like a boner. They show up out of the blue, but they go away just as fast.
Yep, that's right. I've
been playing with water and frequencies. I've been playing with water and frequencies for probably 25 years. I studied under Dr. Masaru Emoto, and then started understanding by a few death experiences that we're living in this water world. We're literally living in a water world. We think everything is physical when it's fluid. And after watching studies from the Navy, where they're taking and putting frequencies in seawater to light up the ocean floor, to the Montauk project, we're using the same technology that the Rockefellers used to weaponize music. They were using it on people to weaponize them. And then I started looking into CIA files and seeing where they were studying these frequencies, this one dynamic frequency that would repair all damage done to the DNA from one frequency in a sine wave. And then they paid for all that, cost them millions of dollars to discover that. And then it got shelved, got hid away. It took 15 years to get that information out, but we're playing with it. And I've had this device in my hand for 70, 75 days.
Yeah.
He knows I'm crazy, so he sends me some because he knows I'm going to drop them in the water. I'm going to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I plugged this device in, and my lady, she's been a horse lady all her life, so she's had some severe breakages. And I'm a dumbass, so I go in there and I cut a slit in the mattress, and I take the first device he sends me, and I set it underneath the coil springs in the mattress, plugged it all in, got it playing, and didn't think anything else about it. 2 days later, I woke up with absolutely no pain. None. 35 years of being in chronic pain, I woke up with absolutely no pain. Now, I know about frequencies, and I knew about this frequency, but it wasn't doing the same thing as it was through that coil.
They're playing the frequency through my headphones right now. Are you guys hearing that? There's like this bubbling, like popping noise in the background.
I hear like a did.
Like a did. Yeah, it was kind of distracting me. I'm trying to pay attention the best I can. It's kind of.
Yeah, Bubba, do you want to talk about like? Sorry, you want to talk about like?
That may be me because when I get in this energy field that I get excited about things, it starts short-circuiting the waves that run these devices. And you can ask Bill about that. Many times we've been cut off completely. So trying to keep my energy level down. I'm literally attempting to keep my energy level down. I can make the lights in the house flicker off and on.
Yeah.
When I get to
Bubba, you want to talk about like your experience with other coils versus this one? You know, this is not your first, attempt at using this type of.
I've got thousands of dollars of portable devices that are used for animals, used for people, all of that. And I've used them and had moderate success for a short period of time. And the biggest thing about all those things is you pay these thousands of dollars, and then when it breaks, they won't service it. You have to buy a new one. Well, I know this crazy guy that you know, and I said, hey, what can we do? And he fixed them. I mean, the guy, to me, he's a genius.
He is.
Absolutely. He is a genius. He doesn't know that, which is great. But yeah, I've been playing with this stuff for 25 years, man. And this is the first thing that I've literally for 72 days or 70 days now, I've had absolutely no pain. And I've put this body through the mill. There's not a bone in this body that hasn't been broke. Not one.
Can you also talk about the animals too, Bubba?
I wake up every day with no pain, so I'm in a new universe.
Bill was saying something about some animals that you have.
I got animals that when I first turned this device on, in a couple of hours, I had feral cats on the end of my building. I had horses trying to get through the fence to get close to the frequency. And this is every time. Now they're acclimated to it because I've created a field. I have one of these devices hanging on a vertical, and I have another one in the house on a horizontal. So I've created a field And right now, if you know how to dowse, I'm testing the range of this field. It's 7 miles away. I have a 7-mile radius that this field is in.
Just from one of these little guys?
2 of them.
2 of them? That's impressive.
Yeah. I leave them playing 24/7. 24/7. I've rigged it up. Even when I get power outages, they're still playing because of the battery in the device. The device is just about 9 hours on the battery. But
that's amazing.
Got a kid next door to me. He's, I don't know, 200 yards to the north. He was in a wheelchair at first this year. And I started telling him how to heal himself. Now, I plugged this device in 70 days ago. He was still on crutches. He's not on crutches anymore. They don't know what changed. And the only thing that's physically changed is I put these 2 devices, one on a horizontal plane and one on a vertical plane. That's all I've done.
Yeah, so I also want to mention, we talk about the frequencies that are loaded. Bubba, most of the time, it's Bubba calling me with some kind of eureka moment he's had, whether it's like, you get a download or however it works for you, Bubba, I'm not sure, but he'll call me up and he'll be like, try 528 hertz. So I'll use this Adobe Audition program and create, a 1 minute MP3 that has 528 hertz, but it also has 7.83 hertz and 33 hertz, 7.83 being, the Schumann resonance, and then 33 hertz, which Bubba also taught me about, is the frequency of water. Or I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Bubba.
Purifies water. 33 hertz purifies water, and it's the only frequency that will trigger a female orgasm depending on amplification.
Yeah, and we witnessed that. We witnessed that at that 5D conference in LA.
Building chairs, which was our idea, which was our idea, building chairs for females to sit in, to have an orgasm, to lose their frustration. Because 85% of the female population has never experienced a full orgasm.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
So a lot of
study all kinds of crazy stuff.
Sorry, Bubba.
I study all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of, again, Bubba helps me a lot with this stuff, and especially with the frequencies. So that's one thing that, Arkheim, on the one that I gave you, there's several MP3s on there, but there's also one that we wanted to try, 128 hertz. And, that, Bubba, you want to talk about that as far as anxiety goes?
Well, it's heart calming at 128 hertz. No matter what panic state you're in, if you play it, your heart's going to calm down. It puts you in the present moment. That's what it does. It literally puts you in the present moment. And if you're in the present moment, you have no reason for depression or anxiety.
What hertz is that? 528?
That one was 128.
No,
120. Okay. I'm trying to see if I got it on here. I do. It's right here.
He's not going to see nothing incomplete from the frequencies we've been working with. He put them on that disc.
And you just put it on the little loop button?
About it.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta charge this thing. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah. So a lot of the frequencies, Bubba helps me out with the frequency sets that we've created. And then another thing that I've been doing, and Arkheim too, I would love your input on as because I know I didn't give you any instructions. I just gave you the thing and left. But
Yeah.
I'd love your input on what you experience. And a couple of things that I've experienced, like I've definitely at the beginning of this process, like I needed the coil to be on full volume, like the MP3 player to be on full volume. And what I noticed when I was playing like 528 hertz is that like I would get like hungry, this hungry sensation, if you will. And then like I noticed that if I turn the volume down, that hungry sensation kind of went away. So I was associating that with, the strength of the signal, if you will. Now I've noticed that I've become more sensitive. I don't need to run the thing at full volume anymore. So my body is like adapting, or, it's doing something. Maybe Bubba can describe it better, but like something is changing inside of me.
Okay.
Where I'm not, I'm more sensitive.
Literally every human out here is a hybrid to an alien species. We don't know what all alien species has interfered with us since the beginning of all this science experiment. We just know in the last at least 2,000 years, probably 2,500, they don't want our gifts to open up. We have natural abilities. We have psychic abilities. We have telecommunication abilities. We have psychokinesis abilities. Mm-hmm. We have abilities to move heavy objects with nothing but our mind. But if you're poisoned and you're eating GMO poisons, then those gifts can't open up because your DNA has been altered. Well, this frequency is restoring your DNA to its original state, which means all your gifts are going to open back up. I noticed in my world, I'm pretty gifted anyway because I've had 6 death experiences. So I'm going to do things that most can't comprehend. But now it's got to where I can hear people think, what they're thinking, what they're saying in their mind. And I never could do that before. And I know the more I sit in this energy, the more the cells in my bodies go away. The new cells being built are being built with the gifts coming back open. When you heal your DNA, you heal your entire body. No birth defects, no shot effects, none of that stuff. It stay in your vessel. None of it. And how long does it take to repair the DNA? I don't know. The full body completely rebuilds itself every 10 years. So if I got to play this thing 10 years, I'm good with that.
Yeah, it'll be a bit of an experiment.
I've done some tremendous damage to this vessel. Tremendous damage. And I'm kicking 70 in the ass. I'm moving around here better than 30-year-olds.
Well, good for you, man. I look forward to trying this out. I wasn't aware it was that powerful. That's some pretty amazing testimony.
What I tell you is this. I get the frequencies and I play with them in my manner, but he's got a way he's recording these frequencies through a tube type generator. And that makes all the difference in the world. Because when Tesla was playing with these things, when Royal Rife built his healing device, they did not have solid state. They did not have digital. They had the old tube type. And it came out in a perfect sine wave. Well, you cannot get a perfect sine wave with anything digital. Can't happen.
Yeah,
Are
that's
you aware
right.
of what that all has to do with? Like sine waves are an oscillation, and so every sound that you hear is an oscillation, and every atom oscillates, and that's kind of one of the reasons why sine waves are so powerful. And synthesizers use sine waves, drum machines. And all of that stuff has been meticulously programmed in a certain way, where certain rhythms and things like that affect the human nervous system and affect the human psyche. And most of it has to do with sexual stuff, because it's really, you know how they say sex sells. Well, it does, and that's what they do with a lot of the mind control programming with the music, is they put sexual mind control programming in it. But
Well,
yeah,
when you
it's
go away from the solid state, when you go away from the solid state, when you go away from the digital, when you use these tube type things, there's a purification of the sine wave.
Yeah. I'll elaborate on that, Bubba, a little bit. So what Bubba is talking about is there's a couple things. First is like, most of the PEMF devices out there use a waveform that is a square wave. So they'll generate like whatever frequency they use, but they'll generate it as a square wave, not a sine wave. And they have to do that because that, the way they design their coils or whatever, they have to use a square wave to get enough amplification out to generate a signal. With the coil that I designed, because of the way that I made it, not only the way that I wound it, but there are some additional components in the device that, I'm not going to tell what I did. You're going to have to buy one and take it apart if you want to see. But it allows, it amplifies the signal so much. We don't need to use square waves. We actually use sine waves. So I'll generate, in Adobe Audition, I'll generate all my frequencies, but sine wave based. And then I'll save that as a wave file, and then I'll play it through a vacuum tube amplifier, vacuum tube headphone amplifier, 2-channel, and then I'll re-record it after playing it. I'll record it as I'm playing it through the vacuum tube amplifier. And Arkheim, you can hear the difference between, like on your guitar stuff, between when you hook up the vacuum tube, your little portable amp, versus not having it. So it really makes it sound a lot smoother. It's hard to describe, but it eliminates this aspect of the MP3 file that, like, when I hear it, it kind of it just hurts my ears. But after I run it through the vacuum tube amplifier, it kind of smooths everything out. So that's one thing that we're doing unique with these MP3s is, yeah, they're created initially digitally, but then they're run through a vacuum amplifier and re-recorded to pick up, that extra information that you get when you play audio through vacuum tubes.
That's super interesting because, yeah, we used all vacuum tube stuff at Montauk. Is your website starpemf.com? Sorry. Is that
Go
correct?
ahead, Bubba. Yeah, but it's not up yet.
What he's doing is, the way I feel it, the way I see it, is he's filtering it. He's literally taking the trash off of it, it's like filtering it through a water filter. That's what it feels like to
run it through the tubes and then
the second generator.
Yeah, run it through the tubes. That's what he's talking about.
And you were saying something about what Preston Nichols said about tubes.
Yeah.
Can you get going to that a little bit, Bill?
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to talk about that. So, there's, and part of my interest, and also want to say, like you had mentioned before we cut over to Bubba, that they used exclusive tube type equipment at Montauk, right?
And reel-to-reel recorders.
Yep. And so, I've seen Preston's videos where he talks about technology at Montauk, and he actually looks at schematics, and he actually looks at the panel boards. I've seen that video, and then I also saw a video where he talks about his audio setup, and he had this I don't know, this room full of junk, but it had a bed in it, and there was all these pyramidal shape. There's 4 pyramid shaped speakers in each corner, and he talks about what makes his setup special, was his tube type amplifiers. Okay. And what he did with his tube type amplifiers, vacuum tube type amplifiers, is he talks about changing the bias voltage on the tube type amplifier in a manner which causes the electron to spin when it enters the vacuum. And in the way that it's described is this, like an electron in a wire is, we'll call it, it looks like a ball. Okay. But once that electron goes into the vacuum tube and is in a vacuum, it becomes something very special. Okay. And this ball electron unrolls like a carpet in the vacuum. And when it unrolls like a carpet, it has the ability to connect to, you know, the other 7 versions of myself, or however many simultaneous versions of me there are existing. And not only are you able to, like, you're able to exchange information with other versions of yourself in this, while listening to the music through vacuum tubes. Now, with his special amplifier, because of the way that he's spinning this carpet in the vacuum. So he has to do something special with the bias voltages on the tube to spin the carpet, okay? But he doesn't tell you what he did. He just says, oh, I came up with a special way to do it. So that was kind of annoying. So what I did was I came up with my own way to spin the carpet, if you will. And it's a little simpler. And essentially, I'm using magnets. Like my first setup, I literally have like a handheld mixer, you know, one of those things that you use to mix cake batter and stuff. And I only have one of the mixers on it. And I've modified the mixer where I put these little magnet balls on each one of the 4 mixing arms. And I literally have this thing like zip tied up near my vacuum tube amp so that the magnets are spinning very, you know, they're almost touching the vacuum tube amplifier. I mean, the vacuum tube itself. The vacuum tube looks like a little light bulb. Mm-hmm. And so I've noticed something incredible when I've done that. Literally, like, I can have these magnets spinning next to my vacuum tube amplifier tube. And then on my bed, I have a PEMF mat, okay, when I sleep on at night. And if I put the same size magnet, it doesn't even have to be the same size, but a magnet ball on my mat, every time that magnet passes by the vacuum tube over here, it causes this ball to jump, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 of an inch, which is like amazing. I mean, if you play just some of the PEMF songs, you can kind of feel the little magnet vibrate. But once I started attempting to rotate this carpet inside the tube, and I started seeing weird effects like, you know, that magnet to me should not be jumping that far on my bed just by placing a magnet near the vacuum tube. So I've seen some interesting effects, you know, just visually, but I'll talk about like what happens when I go to sleep. So I've definitely, like, you know, I see like lots of colors when I go, like when I start to transition into like dream mode, if you will. Like I can feel myself falling asleep, but as I'm falling asleep, I start seeing all of these like colors and moving pictures, and then I'm out. That's one thing that's new to me. And so the intent is, and that's R&D right now. I'm not recording the MP3s with this, you know, with this magnetic bias on the vacuum tubes yet, but the goal is to eventually do that, because it makes the healing, that makes the device more powerful. I mean, yeah, we're using vacuum tubes, and we get that benefit initially, but we're going to look to step it up even more, especially with, you know, what you and I talked about, Arkheim, with, you know, that the sampling station and essentially
I wanted to go into that a little bit. I do have my sampler here, and so what we want to do, Bill and I, is we want to build one of these machines like Preston made. And unfortunately, you know, this is what was used to mind control people, do certain things to them at Montauk, kind of used for negative purposes. And even when Preston had it, he said he was healing people, but he was molesting people and raping. He'd knock them out, and then he would like molest them and stuff. So we want to use this technology for good, for positive purposes, for healing. We want to get these coils involved too, to really, and hopefully at some point what we can have is basically, because it'd be quadraphonic. So this is stereo. So this would be left and right A, and then there would be and you got the outputs on here that would correspond, and then you'd have another one of these, and that would be just the B of left and right, and you can load different frequencies or even songs or melodies or whatever, but frequencies in here, and you'd be able to play them and have someone lying on a table and basically heal their aura, heal just kind of like in the same manner of like you're talking about with this thing, but just on a whole nother level. I feel like I don't know what the difference would be, or I'm really not like that. But
when you heal the DNA, you heal all of the rest. You heal the auras. Your body is rebuilding cells without trauma locked in when you heal the DNA.
So DNA is what you're basically saying. It's
the most.
DNA and the soul are like intrinsically linked to one another. Is that more or less what you're saying?
Well, without the DNA, the spirit can't ride in the body.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but
So
I
DNA, the trauma goes away. And I mean, physically, we're dealing with 14 generations of trauma that's locked in our cells. We're carrying trauma we don't know we're carrying.
yeah.
And then with the music being weaponized and the TVs and the computers and all of that, that's traumatizing them more because they're using a blue flicker rate that your eyes pick up that is literally going through your optic nerve right into your DNA.
Yeah, I've heard about that, the blue flicker thing. Can you go into that more? Like the blue flickering of the screens and how they use that to program people and stuff. It's like a mind control thing. Maybe Bill, do you know about that?
It's a form of hypnotism.
Yeah.
talk about
I studied hypnotism for 5 years. I studied hypnotism for 5 years to figure out how easily they were hypnotizing people. And literally, it's the flicker rate.
Yeah, that's a big part of. I mean,
TVs.
That's what we were doing at Montauk. There's this guy, George Estabrooks. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he was. Yeah, he talked about how we know that dual. I'm going to quote him right now here. We know that dual and even multiple personality can be caused and cured by hypnotism. Moreover, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde combination is a very real one. Once established, it's the key to creating an effective spy or assassin. It rests in splitting a man's personality or creating multiple personality with the aid of hypnotism. This is not science fiction. I have done it. So this is George Estabrooks. This is a guy that worked for our government under my MK Ultra, and they've the whole entire population. Like when we talk about MK Ultra, like it's not limited to people who are in these time travel programs or anything like that. The whole entire population is under mind control, under trauma-based mind control. They set up these traumatic events for people to react to them, and they keep gauging them. And with social media and stuff like that, they're gauging how you feel. They're gauging your emotions. They have the technology where they're manipulating our nervous system. So they can't control our minds with the 5G towers. That's a bit of a misnomer, but they can control your nervous system. And so that paired with them controlling what you're looking at by the endless scroll, the dopamine scroll, doom scrolling as people call it, if they're controlling your nervous system while you're also doing the doom scrolling, and they're meticulously curating what you look at while they're controlling your nervous system, that is without a doubt a form of mind control. Unlike a lot of these events that they're setting up where there's shootings and murders and stuff like that. It's trauma-based mind control, and so many of these mass shootings, these people, you find out they're connected to military intelligence and stuff like that. Their families are military intelligence people and stuff like that, and this is by no coincidence. Even serial killers. See, that was a very uncommon thing until after MK Ultra. When you start researching into it, Dahmer, the clown one, what's his name? I'm having a brain fart here. You know, all these guys, all these serial
family.
Yeah, they're all connected to the CIA, and they're all connected to MK Ultra, and they're the ones who are doing the shit. And it's all connected to Satanism as well. And so, you know, what we're doing here, where we're talking about these devices and stuff like that, and on our level, we're talking about music and these things. We're not trying to scare people or freak them out. We're saying we can re-weaponize this technology in a positive way and just curate ourselves, know what we're taking in, like the music we're listening to, the things we watch, stuff like that, limiting our engagement with social media, all that kind of stuff. We can curate that while also using technology like this, meditation, what have you, to move on from this trauma-based mind control system that they're trying to keep us all under, and basically be immune from it. That's the goal. We want to be immune from their mind control, immune from their programming. Like when they try to like make us respond, like give us a stimuli for us to respond to, like it's our responsibility to like not take the bait and like not even respond to it. So it's a learning process, but that's what we're figuring out right now, and that's why we're sharing this information, is to educate people, have them help people understand like how this technology exists and it's been used for all these nefarious purposes. But that's not to say that the pendulum can't swing the other way. Well, this is some amazing technology that we have. For instance, even music. Music is a hugely powerful, transformative thing. It's not evil. What's that, Bubba?
Rife, we're using everything for healing.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla and Royal Rife were using everything for healing. Where's that knowledge? It got shelved. Royal Rife was curing all diseases with frequencies in the 1920s.
Yeah, Rife. What's his name? Royal
Rife. Yeah, Royal Rife.
Royal Rife.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And his device kind of, hooks up to your wrists. And go ahead.
I think what we've stumbled into is that information stream that they were riding in when they got this information the first time. Because nothing's new here. There is nothing new. And we just, once I started seeing these information streams moving through the air, through the ether, I said, well, what are they attached to? They're attached to your emotions. And whatever emotional state you're in is the information stream you're going to attract to you. And if we're all trauma-based, hypnotized, it's hard to step out of trauma.
Yeah, I mean, with the intent that this device can help
trauma-based.
in healing your DNA, with the intent to address that trauma. Preston also talks about that in his healing bed. The healing the trauma from what he put those people through. A parallel would be drawn with this coil. Repairing your DNA, healing that trauma. But it's in a little handheld size device that you could plug into your phone. But that doesn't mean we're still not going to do what we talked about, Arkheim, as well, because there's multiple ways to do this. And with the music too, that makes it even more interesting. And we talk about the reel to reel. You want to talk about the reel to reel and some of the messages you got?
I don't want to sound too crazy, but I guess I'm me. I got in contact with the spirit of Lee Scratch Perry, who I've always really looked up to. I'm working on a song and a reggae song. It's called Island Boys, and it's about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. And basically, I was like playing it, and I was like, I don't realize these things when I do them. I should realize who I am, and like I have to be careful, like, because I'm gonna get results. I was like, this is for you, Lee. I'm channeling your spirit. Like, you gotta come through while I'm playing this like bass line. I'm like, he actually did come through, and he just told me like about how I have to record the song, how I have to record it with all people from Portland. He says it's not my song; it belongs to the city of Portland and all this stuff. And but he told me don't record it on a computer. He's like, no internet mind. He's like raw fire energy, no computer internet Satan energy. And he told me he's like computer energy is Satan energy. And which is kind of funny because he worked with a guy that towards the end of his life, subatomic subsystem, that guy used computers and stuff like that. But I digress. The thing about using reel-to-reels to record is the tape is magnetic and it picks up things that digital recording devices necessarily can't. You and Bill, you and I are talking about how we kind of want to figure out if there's a way where you can capture some of these stuff in a digital sense. If there's a way of like a capturing device you can make or something like that. But basically, the magnetic. So, and I'm sure Bubba probably knows about this too. Like the subconscious mind is just the telepathic mind, and we're not tuned into it. That's literally all it is. Your subconscious is your like when you communicate telepathically with other people, you're using your subconscious mind to do it, and that's what it is. And so we all have telepathic communication.
DNA antenna, brother.
Yeah. So if somebody tries
you're using your DNA antenna.
So if someone tries to
in your mind, it's your DNA antenna.
Which goes into kind of how they don't even really understand the brain, and there's a lot of like evidence that suggests that we may like the reason why people talk like we might think with our heart more than our brain, and technically our consciousness seems to be outside of us. Like there's been studies that show that our consciousness does not seem to come from like within us; it seems to come from outside of us. So that's also
the information stream.
Yeah, but with the magnetic tape, basically what I was getting at with the DNA antenna is you're putting out these frequencies with your DNA antenna, right? And you're taking them in and you're putting them out. You always are. You might not realize it, but you are. It doesn't have to be intentional. It's happening. And at Montauk, we knew this, and we would put certain energies into the songs, and we knew that the magnetic tape captured thought forms that we would put in the song. And it's in like Preston's book how he put Phil Spector, the producer, didn't believe him when he's like, these records are selling so well thanks to me. He's like, no, it's because they're good songs. He's like, no, I'll show you. I'll prove it to you. So he put subliminally, like subconsciously, a phone number in the song, which the song had nothing to do with phones or anything like that. And after the song played on the radio, the number that they had according with the phone was ringing off the hook. And so he was able to prove to him that he really was putting these messages in these songs. And he talks about in that book how there are certain reel-to-reel recorders that have a third tape head.
Yes.
And nobody they really knew what they're for. I guess they would say they're for erasing the tape, or I forget what the excuse was what they had them. But he said that there's this device that it hooks up to your pineal gland. You put it on your forehead, and you basically are able to put thoughts into the tape. And that's how he was doing that. And we had all sorts of crazy stuff at Montauk. Like we had a thing where you could listen to a record and you could edit the record with your mind by listening to it and all sorts of stuff like that. You had some super duper crazy technology there. But I digress.
I used to have a TX 9000 reel to reel that all my music was played through. Okay. And I've taken it to several guys to repair it. And it had the 3 heads on it, and they couldn't figure out what the third head was for. But when I record things on the reel-to-reel...
TX. That's the one.
Yeah. Not the that's
See, I was remembering in another reality, an alternate reality, Psycho, which is in this reality, they're a watch company. They never made music equipment. They were the ones that made the ones with the third. But that's what is it again, Bubba? What brand is that?
TX 9000.
TX 9000. So now we know. There you go. That's the one you got to get in order to record that way.
And that's what crazy. We're going to do. We're going to record your song. We're going to record your song reel to reel. You know, initially, I mean, obviously at some point it has to go to digital format so it can be put, you know, but the intent with the original recording on reel to reel is what that gentleman was talking about, I presume,
Mhm.
So that's,
Yeah.
and I've also looked at, this third head thing, right? I mean, there's a playback head, there's a record head, and then they say they have an erase head on some of these units. And, there is no erase button on a reel-to-reel.
Yeah,
but,
no, that doesn't make any sense because the record button is the erase button. It's
right,
the same
they say,
fucking thing. That doesn't make
right,
any sense at all.
exactly. They say, well, we pre-erase the tape before we record on it again. So what Preston was probably doing, again, is still hooked up to the erase head, because that's going to precede any recording. He's got his pineal gland sensor or whatever. He's putting his thought forms or whatever on the tape, and that's like the base, and then the audio gets recorded on top of it. If it's coming out the erase head, it's put on first. So we're gonna, experiment with that too.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Maybe we can put like messages in the songs like "You're being brainwashed, wake up, you're being mind controlled," instead of like the
from They Live.
opposite, right? Like sleep,
Like from
you
They
know,
Live,
whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, put positive messages in there to like make people be like, "Wait a minute, this," like, you know what I mean? Make them wake up. Like, maybe we can experiment with that.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the reel-to-reel.
That's another form. That's another form of mind control, and you don't want to deal with the karma flashback from that.
What are you talking about? Putting messages in songs?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I mean, I think it's a consent thing. You have to tell people you're doing it. You have to tell people it's there, let them know it's there. If you hide it, if you're like, hey, I put a positive message, like it's like self-hypnosis or, videos or whatever, it's no different than that. But if you're doing it and not telling people, then I agree. It's a violation of consent, whether it's positive or not. What's that?
When he sent me this one device, he imprinted it. Bill imprinted this one device. And this one device weighs probably 1.5 pounds. I'm so sensitive to these things, it took 4 days before I could acclimate to the impression that was left in the device so I could open the box. 4 days.
Yeah. I did not imprint the one I gave you, Arkheim. Imprinting refers to, as the silicon is drying, I've got like this, looks like a circuit board that's got, a mono input, audio input, and you can play frequencies into this circuit board as the silicon is curing, and with the idea that it's going to capture those frequencies in the dry silicon. To me, it's very overwhelming. Like, it just doesn't feel that, I don't know, it felt kind of dirty. I don't know how to describe it. So I stopped imprinting the coils. But when I sent Bubba, I printed out the kazoo, and he couldn't even open the box.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, Bubba, you sound like you're a very psychically sensitive individual.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. This is what I was telling my neighbor the other day. When you die 6 times and you come back, and they put you back in the same body, every time you die and come back, you come back different.
Yeah.
Different. And the last time I died was in 1994. And I woke up on June the 26th at 7:10 a.m. in a room that was supposed to be dark, but it was absolutely filled full of bright bluish white light. And I heard this voice that said, "You're not finished here yet." And about that same time, the blue and white light disappeared. The wall light turned on. Somebody's hand turned it on. And I heard a metal door clang like a jail cell door.
Wow.
And the nurse came in and she said, "Oh, you're finally awake." And I guess I'd been out 2 or 3 days.
Wow. Yeah, I can only imagine that putting your foot in the door like that of the other side. I mean, it just probably kind of bring a little bit of it back in a way or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like it's probably a part of it.
You're tapping into higher information streams is the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've lost part of your dirtiness. I'm not going to call it sin because it's not. It's dirtiness. and it allows you to step out of the silt on the bottom into a higher information stream, a more purified information stream. Because everything is around us all the time. It's what mood we're in and what thoughts we're thinking, or which ones are your magnetic attraction to the information stream. Literally.
Yeah. Can I talk about that for?
Kind of in a busy mood, and stop and move one step to the right. Physically move one step to the right and take off walking again. Your entire mood is different, and the information stream is different.
I'll just expand on that a little bit, Bubba and Arkheim. Information streams, like a lot of this stuff is very abstract to me as Bubba describes it, but I'll try to put it into how it impacts me. So like when I'm designing, something like this coil, I have gone through at least 10 different iterations of this design. And literally, like, what I'll do is I'll sit there and I'll ask for guidance, from source and my guides. And literally the better mood that I'm in, or emotion, if I'm not like emotional, if I'm, emotionally neutral or happy, I'm able to get into this information stream where they literally just show me how to do this, as far as like, how many wires to use and how many layers. So it's very powerful stuff, and it actually works, for me at least. And it allows me to create, because most of the stuff, like even with the bubble, it's not like I've learned this anywhere. I'm an electrical engineer, but we don't study PEMF in school, and I don't do PEMF in my job. But I'm able to get into these information streams and pull the information or what they're trying to show me, and then actually do something with it. Bubba, you were saying something like, if you do something with the information, then they're more inclined to give you more info or something. I don't know. How'd you put that?
Yeah,
like if you act on
it's the action principle. It's the action principle. If they give you this sweet idea, okay? And if you're not going to do anything with it, but just ponder it, well, it's going to be a long time before you get another sweet idea. And you've been dealing with me for 10 years now or so. So you're always open for these new wonderments to come in, because I'm always wondering things. People say, well, you look bored. No, I'm wondering. There's a difference. I don't get bored. I wonder about different things and how I can affect it. And that was the whole thing. He sent it to me, said, well, just put it on your body. And I'm like, well, if it's doing this through my body is 70% water. I live in a water world. What if I put one of these laid flat for a horizontal plane and another one on a vertical plane, and just create a field? Literally creating a field, not just a single spot on me. I want a field for everyone. I don't want to be selfish with what I'm feeling. I'm pain free, dude. I don't want to be selfish with that. And if I can create a field, and right now after 70 days, I've got one that's 7 miles in diameter in both directions, what all am I affecting?
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah, and so this idea of information streams, it's open to everybody, and just kind of have to open your mind to the possibility that you can get into these information streams, and that will help you with, what you seek help with.
Yeah,
if that's your thing.
It's like he said, the dopamine scroll. Most people won't sit in the quiet. They won't sit in the quiet. They'd rather have their dopamine scroll.
Yeah, people don't think very often anymore. That's
scroll.
I mean, that's the most heavy-duty mind control we got, is the social media. That's why I've gotten off it pretty much entirely.
It's everything. It's the TV. It's the everything. All of them are the same. All these smart devices are monitoring, and they're monitoring biometrics.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Literally monitoring biometrics.
Yeah, because even in the ear pods or AirPods or whatever, the things you stick in your ear, they have there's this flashing light that's constantly, checking I don't know if it's checking your pulse rate or something, but it is monitoring your body from the inside of your ear.
That's nuts.
Yeah, dude. Like some people have taken their phones and held them up to the ear pod, and they can see this. It's not a constant flash rate. They're using it as a sensor, and then I don't know if it's used to adjust the audio levels or what, but it's just it seems a little out of place in an earphone.
Well, something that I'm going to be covering in the near future here is how all of this technology, the internet, was created by DARPA, and it was created for mind control. That was why it was created. That's why it exists, and it exists as a military intelligence tool for both surveillance operations and mind control. And that's all it is. That's what it's then. And these AI computers at these giant fucking facilities that are, they're saying it's so you can generate AI videos of frogs wearing hats dancing and shit. That is, they're gonna use that. They're not. There's no way that they would put that much money, that much resources into these giant data centers if they just want you to be able to generate AI videos and talk to Chat GPT. That's not what it's for. They're trying to build the surveillance state, and that's the excuse that they're using so that we will allow them to do it. Meanwhile, here in the state of Oregon, the energy rate has gone up 32% in the past 5 years because of these AI data centers being built, and it's happening all across the country to other places. And I just don't understand why we should have to pay more money for electricity for something that we never even fucking asked for. And frankly, I don't want it. Do you want it? I don't want AI. Why should I have to pay for some idiot to be able to sit there and talk to a robot? For idiots to be able to sit there and talk to a fucking robot that doesn't tell them the truth. It's got confirmation bias. They're flattering to people. They're just it's just bad. And I sorry, I sound like a Luddite now, but
you've seen the timelines too. I mean, you've seen the realities where, you're talking.
I've seen where this is gonna go.
Yeah, and it's.
Interestingly enough, I'm actually gonna be
my TVs.
What's that?
I got rid of my TVs. I got rid of my televisions 18 years ago because I woke up one day and I could see the subliminal languages, 9 lines of language running across the front of the TV, but it's in a spectrum that the adult can't see, but the child can.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that for a second, Bubba? It's straight out of They Live or something,
I got rid of all my TVs that day.
So they have something on there that only younger people. Man,
I live out here in the desert, and I'm out here for a reason.
Yeah, but you live really close to Edwards, man. I mean, you could see Edwards from your backyard. Edwards.
No, I got to get up on the mountain to see Edwards.
That's still crazy, though.
The strange shit they fly at night, it flies over here, yeah.
I agree with this comment here.
Work out there.
People don't create electricity. We just promise it already exists in nature. It's like water. We shouldn't be paying for that either. And I agree. It's all an illusion. Scarcity. Yeah. The earth has everything that we need. More than
pay attention to. You drive around the town that you live in, and you look and see how many microwave towers are above the water storage facilities. You're not getting living water. You're getting eradicated water.
Yeah. So, because water can be alive or dead, is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You go get your water and water it with rainwater, and get the identical plant and water it with the same rainwater, but you microwave it first. See which one dies.
I've never thought about that.
Microwave strips all the nutrients, the living entities out of the water.
That makes sense.
And you can actually, you know, with the coil, you can actually put a glass of water on top of it and play frequencies into it
and program the water and then drink it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're about an hour in. You guys want to maybe start wrapping things up, or?
Sure. Well, I just want to say, yeah, I mean, sorry, Bubba, I'm just going to jump in here. StarPEMF.com. Eventually, you know, I didn't have the website up today. Arkheim apologized about that. Maybe I'll stop by the show again when it's up. I mean, it should be within the next 4 weeks. And the intent is to make a dozen or so of these coils with the MP3 players and put them up for sale and see how it does. Start small. And maybe the next show I come on would give away a couple of them or something. It's like a contest.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get once you get the website out, and I'd love to have Bubba on the show again. It was awesome having you on, Bubba. It was really nice to meet you. Is there anything you want to say before you go? I don't think you're really trying to have people like hit you up or anything. So probably just anything message you want to put out there before you go or anything.
I've been doing talks in person and to different people over YouTube for years. And
you got a YouTube channel?
If you type in, no, I don't. I'm not. Look, out where I live at, I'm surprised. And you can ask Bill, I'm surprised I've made it this long with my schedule.
I know. Yeah, usually it's disconnected.
Wow. Maybe some forces are looking out for a change.
You're around us that want this information out or allowing my signal to stay good.
Yeah, that's what I think.
You can type in my name on YouTube, Bubba Dumbass, and there's several talks that I've given over the years.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, Arkheim. This has been great.
About water. I talk to people about water because that's the most important thing that we can play with.
Maybe I'll have to have you back on the show. I'll set it up through Bill, and we'll just talk about water the whole time.
Yeah.
That'd be a good show, because that is true. And talk about that Professor Yamamoto or whatever his name is. Like, his work's absolutely fascinating. What is it?
Oh, Masaru Emoto was great. But there's a lady out there now. Her name is Veda, Veda Austin. Okay. And she's taken this water knowledge to a whole nother level.
This has inspired me. I'm gonna find a spring near me and start collecting spring water and drinking spring water, because I was doing that when I was hanging out with Ben in Tennessee with you guys. There's a spring right down the road, and I felt it. You feel so much better. You can feel and it just tastes better and just feels better to drink. Yeah, tap water just always sketched me out, honestly.
Yeah.
You can play 28,000 kilohertz, 28 kilohertz into water, and it puts the negative ions back into the water.
So I could just put it on one of these and just program it back to normal, basically.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We need to put some water frequencies on the MP3 player.
So that's how about this, guys? We'll have another conversation, because I think this format's good with Bill and Bubba. And next time we'll talk about frequency, kind of the same subject, but we'll talk more about water next time.
Cool.
Because I think that is an important thing to talk about.
Yeah.
So, all right, this has been an awesome show. Both you and Bubba are so full of knowledge, and we really appreciate you sharing it with us.
Thanks. I love it.
And by the way, everyone, me and Bill are going to be on the Cryptid Huntress next week around the same times now. So keep an eye out for that. We had a little bit of an adventure. It's pretty crazy shit.
Yeah.
What's that, Bubba?
I'm backed up to a national forest. I believe my backyard is a national forest. And yes, dear, there are cryptids in there.
Yeah, there definitely are, for sure. Yeah. Have you ever been on, man, you'd love Jessica Jones. Like, you would love, you two would have you got to go on her show, man. Yeah. I'm going to talk to her about that. Yeah, you got to talk to Jessica. Yeah, Bill, you got to set this guy up with Jessica, because that would be an amazing conversation. All right, well, thanks everybody for being here. I learned a lot. I hope the audience learned a lot. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
You do.